Good morning. Happy Monday. I really dislike the SPLC, and I really dislike the SPLC because number one, they give cover to groups by conflating words with actions. They treat people who say things they don't like the same as people who actually go out there and commit violent acts, who commit terrorist activities, who kill and intimidate, burn crosses on lawns, things like that. They conflate those two groups. They call them all extremist hate groups. A voting advocacy group is treated exactly the same as the KKK to the SPLC. And that's wrong. That is wrong because a Klansman or some group that's akin to the Klan that is called a hate group by the SPLC can say, hey, look, the SPLC said the Quilliam Foundation was an extremist hate group. They said Majid Nawaz was an anti-Muslim extremist. And they were wrong about that. And they had to pay $3.4 million because they were wrong about that. And if they were wrong about that, they could be wrong about me. There was that other some guy who was publishing an online web magazine, like a white supremacist online web magazine the other day that I was looking at. He didn't even have a criminal record. Like, how is that even on par, remotely on par with a group like the KKK? Those are two totally different things. They're not even similar. One of these things is not like the others. One of these things is all on its own. I mean, this is amateurish, childish propaganda. Well, you're against the Holocaust, aren't you? Well, then you should be against this guy who has an opinion about white people. It's childish. It's immature. And it doesn't address any of the arguments. The second thing I have that is I really have strong dislike to the SPLC over is the groups that they choose to not include and the categories they choose to not include or to include. They have male supremacy. They have some group, male supremacy. It's called like Men's Voices or something like that, or A Voice for Men is what it was called. Some MRA group, men's rights activist group. I mean, okay, like, so they think that guys are getting the raw end of the stick on some issues. And so what? Like, what about the feminists that are thinking that women are getting the raw end of the stick? The difference is the SPLC shares the vision, shares the viewpoint of the feminist and not the men's rights activist. That's the difference. Antifa isn't listed as a hate group. Antifa, who goes out and throws homemade bombs and Molotov cocktails, hits people over the head with bike locks. Those guys, not a hate group. But the Proud Boys are. Proud Boys are just a general hate group. But not Antifa. Antifa are good boys. They didn't do nothing. So the categories that they choose to be hateful, to be included on the list, to be conflated with the KKK, are subjective. It's just their own personal feelings. Oh, this group has right-leaning ideologies in it. They're against open borders. Well, then they're a hate group. This church is against LGBTQ. Maybe they just don't like transgender people. Maybe they think that is an abomination. They're whatever. I'm not a Christian. I'm not good at figuring out the way Christians think about stuff. But maybe they think that, your body's a temple or something like that, and you shouldn't chop bits off. And maybe God made you perfect the way you are. Whatever the hell they believe. I don't really know. Oh, well, that's transphobic. They're a hate group now. But show me the mosques. Show me the mosques on that list. Where is SPLC calling out mosques? They're not. I mean, if it is hate speech to the SPLC to say that you can't be gay or lesbian or transgender, then why aren't mosques being called out? If it's not okay to be anti-Semitic, then why aren't mosques being called out? They have an agenda. That's all I'm saying. And I don't think I personally don't think that churches should be on the list or mosques should be on the list. People should have their freedom of speech. I am a free speech activist. I love free speech. And which brings me to the third reason why I don't like the SPLC. It's because they use these labels to shut down speech. They don't address the argument. They don't counter the narrative. They just say, you're a racist, you're a homophobe, you're a transphobe, you're anti-Semitic, and that's it. That's the end of it. They don't try, they don't make an effort to actually listen to what the other party has to say and talk to them. For all of my faults, I do read the comments. And if somebody is making a valid argument or an attempt at a valid argument, I will attempt to address it. Because whether or not they're right or wrong, nobody can learn unless the argument is addressed. Nobody can learn. Maybe I'm wrong. That's a thought that has never crossed the SPLC's mind. Maybe the SPLC is wrong. There's an activist, blues musician, Daryl Davis. He's been going around for a long time. He goes to Klan rallies. Black man goes to Klan rallies. He goes and he talks to the KKK. He talks to them as if they were actual human beings, as if they were real people, as if they weren't just caricatures, monstrosities, dredged up from our deepest, darkest fears to be the boogeyman, to be the other that we can cast all of the nation's ills upon. He goes and he talks to him, and he has success talking to him. And he actually has talked, I don't know, I've heard as many as 200 people out of the KKK. Daryl Davis might be single-handedly the biggest contributor to the decline of the KKK in the United States. But he does it not by just saying you're a bad man, you're KKK. He actually talks to them. He will address their arguments. He will respond to their argument. He has one argument that he's responded to, something about African Americans supposedly having a gene or something that makes them more violent. And he talks to the KKK guy and he says, well, white people have a gene that makes them serial killers. Name me 3 black serial killers. And the KKK guy couldn't, and he said, well, you have your gene, it's latent, I have my gene, it's latent, and they had common ground at that point. He was able to talk to him. And I don't know if any of that gene shit is right or wrong. I don't even care. My point is that he talked to the guy. He addressed the argument. He treated the other guy like a person. He treated the other guy's opinion as being, that's your opinion, and as your opinion, it's valid. But I have a different opinion, and I think I can convince you that my opinion is better than your opinion. And he did it. Why can't we all do that? But in today's society, it's just polarized. You get shut down if you have the wrong opinion. That doesn't make the opinion go away. That just makes you go away. They started kicking all these people off of Twitter, and now they're on Gab and on Parler and on all these other sites. But they're still there, and they still have their opinion. They just resent you for silencing them. It's crazy. Like, you're not winning hearts and minds. You're creating some pressure cooker underground where there's no relief valve because sane people aren't able to talk to these people anymore. I'll talk to a KKK guy. I'll try to convince him that he's wrong and why his argument, I think, fails. But I can't do that if the KKK guy can't talk. How do I know he's a KKK guy? How do I know? He's like, I'm not going to say shit because I'm going to get fired. I'm going to lose my job. I'm going to have to, go to a Home Depot and work for $10 an hour under the table. So that's why I think the SPLC is just a terrible organization. They do terrible things. And I really revile them on a lot of levels. Maybe they had good intentions. Maybe they still do have good intentions, but they are failing to provide a valuable service. I think they're doing a disservice, not only to the people who donate to them, but to the country as a whole. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.